She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, it's Family Friday on the Dani Johnson Show, and we actually are filming this at our house. And this is my beautiful daughter, Arika. Arika is 26. She has 2 children, and she almost died when she was 16 years old. And we just felt like it would be a really awesome conversation to hear from her perspective, and then me as a mother, my perspective on how that entire thing went down, and then also how God prevailed, how He answered prayers, how He healed, and He restored this beautiful, amazing. She's like one of my most favorite people in the whole wide world, no joke. Ignore the siren. There's a siren out there, but we're at our house, so that's how it works, okay? So anyway, Arika was 16 years old, and Hans and I were coming out actually to Arkansas. We were looking to relocate out of California. This is 9 years ago. Can you believe that?
10 years ago.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, it was November. It was the week before Thanksgiving. Actually, it was the week of Thanksgiving. And so anyway, Hans and I, and Micah, actually, our youngest Micah, again, 10 years ago, so he was 9. We went to Arkansas to look at some property. We were looking at the middle of the country to relocate to, and we ended up in Texas. But so we were on a trip for just a couple of days, and as we left that morning, and she was staying with our friend Mona, who was kind of almost like a second mom. Both of us raised each other's kids together. And Arika woke up that morning throwing up. And I'll let you take it from there.
It was a really bad headache.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite throwing up just yet, but Mona had picked me up to go for my tutoring session for school. And so we were at another friend's house, and I was in the fetal position on the floor, crawling to the bathroom, just in a lot of pain. And I don't normally complain about my pain. And so I'm literally just throwing up nothing, just bile. There was nothing to throw up, but I was like literally dry heaving. So Mona took me to the urgent care, and they were like, oh, it's just a migraine. We'll just, give you a shot for the nausea and you should be fine. And so we gave me a shot, went home, slept for maybe like 2 hours, and then the pain came back.
Yeah. So Hans and I are on an airplane. And literally, like, when we were leaving that morning, she had that bad headache, and like your kid woke up sick, but she's 16. It isn't like your little kid. So we still flew out, and so by the time we land in Arkansas, and it's like took us forever to get from where we lived in California just to Arkansas, we had gotten a phone call in the middle of the night, actually, because the throwing up came back as soon as the medicine actually wore off.
It was right before actually wasn't even 24 hours. It was more like 12. And Jen was at Mona's house, and she's giving me some oils to help with my headache, and then then I'm starting to puke consistently, like every 10-30 minutes. And so Mona was like, okay, we're going to the ER. And then Issa tagged along and pulled the sister card. She was like, excuse me, she's my sister. I'm standing by her side right now. And he didn't even question it, because we're 2 different colors.
Yeah, Issa is one that we've adopted, if you will. She's our spiritual daughter, and the kids just said, nope, that's our sister. Mm-hmm. So she's African American, beautiful dreads. She's been on this show before. You've seen her at First Steps to Success. She's absolutely gorgeous, and she's just one of the kids. Period. End of story. And no one ever questions it, which is so awesome. so
we've been through a lot together.
Yes.
We probably only knew each other.
Well, it's 10 years. It's been 13 years with us. So
yeah,
2005 is when she came.
Couple years.
3 years.
Yep. And so she was just like, she's my sister, I'm standing by her side. And this guy is like, okay, whatever. And this hospital is they just kind of diagnose, or they do the best that they can, and then they ship you off somewhere else, because we were in a very tiny town. And so they're trying to figure out if it was, a migraine or something worse. They put me through CT scan, and I'm like thinking, CT scan, I don't have cancer. Like, I don't have cancer. And so they put me through that, and they're like, yeah, she's bleeding in the brain, so we're going to ship her off somewhere. trying to figure out if I would be in a big kid, like in a little kid hospital, a children's hospital, or an adult hospital because I'm so tall. And they're like, the beds might be too small. And we're like, we're going to a children's hospital. And the crazy thing is that my godmother, who has passed, she actually had some brain
2 aneurysms
before I did.
Yeah.
And so we had connections, some like in the act of God, really, of having a doctor, because Stanford Hospital is like, people from India would come to these hospitals. They would fly in helicopter or like airplanes just to get the best care that they possibly could. So it was a really big blessing. So yeah, I just remember being in the ambulance and I remember the names. I don't remember a lot, but I remember these names. One was Chris, the other was Sarah, and Mama! That's my boy!
Hey! There we go! Take a peek at that. Look at Zion! Hi, buddy! Hi, Vivi! Hi! Oh my gosh! Look at the way she just like, so
These
strong.
are my boys, which that's probably going to be towards the end of the story.
It's pretty perfect then.
Where was I?
Names.
Yeah.
Sarah, Chris, Mark, and John.
Dr. Friedman.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, Dr. Friedman.
But it was interesting because the people that were in the ambulance, they all had like some significant like Bible name to them, so I kind of had just a piece at it. May not be much to you, but it was one thing that really meant to me. You want to go see Daddy?
Yes.
Go see Daddy.
So, when we come back, we're going to tell you, actually, no, we're not going to come back. So Hans and I get a phone call in the middle of the night, because again, like Arkansas, I think was 2-hour time difference at that point. So we get a call in the middle of the night. Nobody ever wants to call in the middle of the night, right? And so Mona is on the phone, and she said, hey, I just want to let you know that Arika started throwing up again, and she's in an ambulance right now on her way to Stanford University. The CAT scan showed that she's had a double aneurysm, and I completely freaked out. I literally fell on the floor and just started bawling. No, not this kid. We'll continue back here shortly, and we'll tell you more about what took place next, because a great miracle happened for sure. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today. Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford, and he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So we get that phone call in the middle of the night, and it was horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. We hear that Arika is on her way to Stanford University, that she's had bleeding in her brain, a double aneurysm. And I don't think any parent is ever prepared to handle hearing, first of all, when you're hours away, hearing that your child could possibly die. And I grew up in a violently abusive home, and my mom broke her neck when I was 11, and none of that, what I watched my mom suffer through, did not prepare me for that phone call. Like nothing, no trauma I experienced in my life ever prepared me for that phone call of hearing, especially this one, right? So, because Arika was always so compliant and so easy and so amazing, obedient and helpful and loving and kind, and just her character was so incredible. So the first thing, well, not the first thing, but a few things that went through my mind was like, how could that happen to her? Of all people, how could it happen to her? I hate to say it, but I think many of us think that, when there's people out there that are really screwing up really, really bad, it's almost like, okay, when something bad happens to them, it's like, well, hello, dude. You reaped what you sowed, but that's not this kid. I mean, she's 16. She's still a virgin. She honored her parents. She loved her family. She worked hard in the house. She did her chores. She did her homework. She tried hard at everything she ever did. I mean, she was hardworking. I mean, she started working when she was 12. So when those were some of the things that were going through my head, and obviously crying out to God. So she had a 3-hour ride in an ambulance to Stanford University with nobody in the ambulance with her, which was like another thing. Was like, oh my gosh, like she's in this van with these strangers on a 3-hour drive and praying that she's actually going to survive, and that's like so freaking scary. It was horrifying. So yeah, anyway, you want to add to your ride in the...
Well, it's just really the strange thing, I don't know how to really explain it, is that I had a lot of peace throughout the whole thing.
Wow.
I don't remember much, but I do remember having a lot of peace and the significance of having those specific people and the fact that I remember their names. I think God definitely set a plan because yeah, of course, when I'm in like a really scary situation, I'm gonna want my mom, especially when I'm, as an adult, feeling like crap. I want my mommy. So, I mean, just imagine like being on a life or death situation, but death wasn't even going through my mind because I knew I was going to be okay. So that drive, it was long and I was with strangers, but I had peace. So.
And Arika always had an amazing relationship with God. She just did. Like, when she was a baby is when I rededicated my life to God, and when I met my Father in heaven, and right away I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, from 5:30 to 7:30, and I would pray on the bathroom floor, like in the toilet room bathroom floor. And so Arika would wake up around 6:30, and I would literally just take her out of the crib and bring her on the toilet room floor with me, and she would just crouch down and she would just be mumbling stuff. And so she learned how to pray really, really young with me, and we did this for years. Even once her little brother came, 2 years later, came in the little tiny toilet room with me, and we would just pray together, So they'd be in there for an hour, sometimes 30 minutes, but from 5:30 to 7:30, I was on the floor praying every day. And so she always had this really amazing connection with God. And so to hear that she had peace on that ride, it's like really a phenomenal thing. Mom, on the other hand, was like, I was a mess. And so obviously right away we're on the phone with the airlines and we're explaining what happened. And God did such an amazing thing for us. He really did. He did something so beautiful. Because so right away, I mean, first of all, to get from Arkansas, which I can't even remember the name of the town that we were in. It was like something.
It was Arkansas.
It was Arkansas. It was like some small little tiny town because that's who we are. We like to be in small towns. And so there we were, like, you know, on the phone with the airlines, like trying to get a flight. Like, when's the next flight out of this tiny little town to get us back to California, you know? And so, you know, it's a little puddle jumper. You know, it's the first plane, you know, and, you know, it goes out at 6 o'clock in the afternoon kind of thing, you know what I mean? But we can't. We got to leave now. It's the middle of the night. And God worked it all out, man. We were able to get the first flight out. And then we were actually able to find a connection, which was also a miracle.
Was it also snowing?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was actually 9 degrees when we landed in Arkansas. So it was horrifying that it was 9 degrees. And then so here we're on a plane, and now the bigger plane to take us straight to San Francisco, and you know I think it was a United plane, and we just I was a mess. Yes, I was praying, but I was such a mess. It was a horrible, horrible experience for a mom. And so anyway, you know, we told the flight attendants, you know, what was going on, and the flight obviously was delayed, you know, so like those kind of things. And then the pilot got word about what Arika was suffering from, and so they actually made an announcement like, you know what, we're going to try to speed this plane up. There's a family on the plane that needs to get to their daughter who's in a hospital right now. And so they did. They actually got us there early, which was like awesome. We land, and it come to find out that her godmother, that she was already on the phone and making arrangements and hooked Arika up with her exact doctor, which was the best in the world for what they call AVMs, which it's a word this long that it describes, and forget about it. I can't even remember what it was. Something. Anyway, but she had an AVM, which is basically her veins, she was born with this. This wasn't just an all of a sudden thing, but imagine veins all clustered up in a knot. So all the veins were all clustered up in a knot. So as she got older and older, right, and she's growing, and she obviously had already gone through puberty. She was 16, and she was an athlete, an incredible athlete. So she had 2 of these things, and that's what caused this exact AVM. So bottom line is that in itself, like, there were so many miracles that were happening, but to me the greatest one is that she had peace in that ride there, and I felt so bad. I felt so guilty that I wasn't there in just that ride or being there when she was throwing up. So nonetheless, we'll continue right here in just a moment after you check this out, and you're going to hear the rest of the story.
Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word FUTURE to 484848. Get started today. Text the word FUTURE to 484848. Secure your future now. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, You're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.lindapage.com and make a priceless investment in yourself.
Prior to getting started with DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, we were spending absolutely every dime that we made. We were really struggling financially. Since plugging in to First Steps to Success just 4 months ago, we started a brand new business that is doing very, very well. We've paid off $4,500 in debt, but the most important thing is my relationship with my husband has improved like dramatically. I mean, we have so much more fun together. You know, I don't know about you, maybe your finances, you're doing great, maybe you're debt-free, maybe your relationships with your spouse, with your family are great. But if not, if you have some areas in your life that feel a little out of control or there's things that you need to work on, I highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success as soon as you can.
Prior to being dragged out to First Steps to Success, I was hopeless. I had no point to life. It was a day-to-day existence, working a job I despised for people I didn't respect. Deeper and deeper debt every year. You just couldn't get on top of it. I just had no hopes or dreams, none at all, and there was no point to life. But since coming out, we paid off $280,000 worth of debt, married the woman of my dreams. I came to love my job and the people I work for. I have all kinds of hopes and dreams. I get to watch them happen every day. I don't know what your life is like, you know. There's probably tons of hope. You probably know why you live and you got places you're going, but if you don't, you need to sign up for First Steps to Success. You go to DaniJohnson.com and you click on it and be here, because your life will not be the same if you do.
Prior to First Steps to Success, I was drowning in debt, I was terrified of my bills, and I wanted to travel, but I never had the money. And since coming to First Steps to Success, in the last 14 months, I've paid off over $18,000 in debt. I've gone on 6 vacations, and I'm not terrified of my bills anymore. So if you want to learn some proven strategies to really learn how to connect with people, take your life to the next level, all while having a total blast, you need to get registered for the next First Steps to Success today.
Prior to coming to First Step to Success, we were totally struggling, totally under the weight of $640,000 worth of debt, making $20,000 a month, but living paycheck to paycheck. So when we came here and I realized that it takes a totally different skill set to keep money, to create wealth than it is to make money, I have totally turned around our lifestyle. We have paid off $640,000 worth of debt in 2 years. We are debt-free as of June of 2013. I don't know where you're at. You might have all your finances in order. You might have a wonderful life. Your marriage might be all perfect and your kids are behaving. But if not, if one of those things is lacking, you gotta get here. Book your next event. You need to be here. You will not regret it.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So we arrive in San Francisco, we meet the doctors and the whole team, and they're the best in the world. Like, what are the odds that we end up with the best in the world, the best in neurology that is actually caring for her? And so they had already done all their tests and everything. So we arrive and we see the AVMs there. And again, I'm just not handling. I'm just not handling. I'm dealing with guilt. I'm dealing with shame. at the same time, I'm trusting God that he's going to save my daughter's life. So it was kind of like this dual thing that was happening. So go ahead and explain what happened with you.
There's a lot that happened, obviously. I remember seeing Jack and LaVon and everybody waiting for me to arrive. And a lot of it's a blur.
Which were her godparents.
So, yeah, Jack and LaVon were godparents. And a lot of it, I remember being in the hospital bed. I remember my mom at my side a lot. And Jen was at my side. Jen was there since I was a little baby. Like,
yep.
She was my nanny. So she's always been around, and she's kind of like an aunt, but a lot more than that. And I remember her stuffing crackers in my face, and like I'm just stuffing it in my cheeks because she had to like give me some medicine or whatever with food, and she was like, "Stop being a squirrel." And I remember like whenever my mom and dad needed to rest, Jen was there. And then I had an open, like I was awake for the first procedure.
Surgery. Awake during surgery. Which when you went into surgery, I freaked out. I completely freaked out.
There was a topic of either open brain surgery or an angiogram, and he was saying that if it was his kid, he would do. I think he said
with
open.
you awake.
Yeah, awake.
Yeah.
And
here's why the AVM was right near her vision center, and so if they did it, they needed to be testing her vision throughout the entire procedure, because if she wasn't awake for it, she could have gone blind. So this was another side effect. So there was brain damage complications that were possibilities, her going completely blind, as well as being paralyzed from the entire thing.
And I think that week I had 3 operations, right? Or was it 2?
Three different,
Which all of them I was awake for.
Yeah.
In the middle of that, they were giving me medication that caused me to stop breathing. And I remember my mom snapping her fingers in front of my face, trying to keep me awake, because whenever I'd fall asleep, I would just stop. Breathing. And so they were like, "Is she bleeding her brain? Did something rupture? What happened?" And it was just, I was allergic to medication. Not that big of a story. Gosh. There's so much.
So when they wheeled her in, I felt so bad because my daughter was a virgin, and now she's going to be in an operating room with men and women, and they're putting EKGs on her. Do you know what I mean? She's being exposed in front of men and women, and that just, I literally dropped to the floor. And I just started screaming. Yep, I lost it. I completely lost it, and I just started screaming that. I'm like, please, can I just be in there? I want to be with her. I want to be a part of that. And so anyway, there's so much more to the story, and we're running out of time, which is really lame. But I want to talk about this one point, that when we made the decision about which surgery to do, the procedure with her eyes open or whether she was asleep. And what courage that she's the one who made the decision. No, I want to do it awake. And she goes, and I think it might be kind of fun. I'm like, whatever. But there was that one point where, she was in the hospital for a week, and for days leading into this procedure, she had, I had walked into the room, and again, I'd be bawling my eyes out in the waiting room, and then come in, and I'd have to be like, just showing her that I'm okay, and we're going to be okay, and she just broke down and she started crying. And she said, "Mom, why is this happening to me?" And she had written a song the year before that didn't make a lot of sense to me, because she had not suffered any trauma ever in her life, but the song was about trauma. It was literally about another day, that no matter what happens in my life, I'm still going to praise you. And the name of the song was Another Day. You can find the song on iTunes, actually, and she recorded it when she was 15 years old. And so when she wrote the song, I was like, this song, it was so amazing, and I could identify with it because I'd been through a lot of trauma. But Arika had not been through trauma, but the song literally was about trauma. And so right when she said to me, and she's crying because she's throwing up constantly, "Mom," and she lost so much weight so fast in that week. And she's like, "Why is this happening to me?" And God reminded me of the song. And I had told her a story of somebody else that had suffered through cancer at the same exact age, and now has a limp, and at that time in her life wasn't necessarily walking with God. And I said, "But you wrote a song a year ago that no matter what you walk through, that you're going to praise him, that no matter what happens, that you have another day. And I said, this is that song. You're walking through it right now. This is your another day, Arika. And we are a family that no matter what we go through, we're going to love him. No matter what we walk through, we're going to honor him and we're going to praise him. We're going to praise him in the good days and all the prosperity and all the blessing. And we're going to praise him in this moment as well. And she just smiled, tears coming down her eyes. She goes, all right, yes, this is my another day and I will praise him. So,
and we did actually.
yes.
We did, because my uncle and my aunt and then cousins that I've never met before and grandpa's,
my dad's
abuelo's family that I'd never met before, they brought food, and I asked my uncle to bring his guitar. And we had like a full-on worship session in the hospital. Like, we were to the max, and the nurses just learned to stop telling us that there was too many people in there. But we had
it was ICU.
Yeah, it was like, limited visitors, and so we praised him no matter what, because that was the big operation of going in and stopping bleeding. So that was probably the best memory I probably ever had. That actually.
Like, how can you say that, right? Like, she's praising him during such a painful time. So yeah, so unfortunately that's where we're gonna have to stop this story from here. She did go through the procedure and she did come out with some brain damage, and she was not able to walk, but she did not lose her sight. She was able to see. Yep.
On the sides, I couldn't see anything for a while.
That's right. Yeah, she lost some of her sight. So I think we're going to have to do a part 2 at some point so that you can hear the rest of the miraculous story that happened inside of Arika's life. She's now 26. This is 10 years later, perfectly healthy. Walks, talks, runs, plays volleyball, handles her kids. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks so much for sharing. I love you. You're so amazing.